Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. I'm your humble French tarot reader and the Goblin Marine, and today we're gonna be doing a tarot and oracle decks haul. This is actually a part 2 of a haul I posted a few weeks ago. As March is my birthday month, I am born at the end of March. I'm an Aries baby. March is always a great deck month for me, and because I knew there was going to be a lot of decks coming this month, gifts from other people, gifts from myself, as well as Kickstarter campaigns that arrived and all of that, I decided to split this into two. So a couple weeks back, we had part 1 with some Kickstarters that arrived, pre-orders that I arrived, and today we're going to look at gifts that I received from friends, family, loved ones, as well as gifts I made from me to me. Because as I always joke on my channel, my sun sign is in Goblin, my moon sign is in Hobbit, so treating myself is my way to get through any life minor inconvenience or any life happiness and celebration. So we've got a lot of decks to talk about today. Mass market and indie deck, tarot decks and oracle decks, there's a bit of everything. I think all of my fellow tarot lovers will enjoy this one, as it's very eclectic, very chaotic as per usual with my tastes, and I'm excited to get to know all of these decks better. Some of them I've used already, some of them I have not used yet, we'll discover together. For those of them that I've already been reading with, I'll give you mini reviews, and the other ones I will come back later on the channel to give you proper reviews once I've read with them for a few weeks. As per usual, all the names of the decks are going to be in the description box, where you can also find the link to my second channel, The Waves of Your Soul Readings. This is where I post pick a card reading, monthly guidance, tarot readings, using all of these decks, putting them all to good use, so definitely go and check that out if you haven't yet. If there are any fellow Aries watching, I want to wish you a beautiful birthday season. I hope you're all treating yourself good. I hope you're being kind to yourself, especially as there's been a lot of chaoticness happening in Aries with the planets. So I hope all of my fellow Aries and everyone else are taking good care of themselves right now. And without further ado, let's get into it. New tarot and oracle decks to my collection. Let's go. Let's start with the Rosebud Tarot. So one of my wonderful viewers, you know who you are if you're watching, and I'm sending you so much hug, got in touch with me and asked me if I had the Rosebud Tarot because they told me it was one of their favorite decks and they know I enjoy collage decks. So they were like, if you don't have it, I would love to get it for you for your birthday, as a thank you for the videos and content I put out. And as you guys know, I never expect anything, honestly. Making YouTube videos is like my love language, reading the cards for you is my love language, but I'm a deck lover, so when someone wants to send me their favorite deck, I'm not gonna say no, obviously, and I'm super grateful, because actually the Rosebud Tarot is one that I was always curious about already when it was indie. Very excited to discover now the mass market version, as it's one I've always been curious about, and especially knowing that it is this particular person's favorite deck, I'm even more excited about it. So here are the gorgeous packs. For those of you who don't know, the Rosebud Tarot is a collage deck that reuses more like vintage kind of imagery. The guidebook, I flick through it a little bit. For the majors, we have some poems, which I love. You guys know I love poems in guidebooks. That's like my favorite thing when a guidebook has poems, so I really enjoy that. For the minors, we have just a little bit less, but still very beautiful writing. This was created by a queer creator, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, queer artist, which is always something I appreciate. A lot of my besties are part of the queer community, so I always appreciate when I can have decks that I'm able to use with them. This, like I was saying, is a deck that reuses a pre-existing imagery that is more like historical. And the unique thing about this one, and the reason why at the time I hadn't gone for the indie version when it was out, is that there's a lot of renaming. Like you're gonna see on the majors, most of the majors are renamed, or I think all of the court cards are renamed. And at the time, I was a little bit like, I'm not sure this is gonna work for me. I love this lovers, it's so cute. I wasn't sure it was gonna work for me, the renaming. Now, going through it, I'm realizing actually the major arcana is very easy to recognize, like the Seeker Further Hermit makes total sense. Balance for Justice, again, makes total sense. So I definitely have evolved in my tarot taste that this does not bother me nearly as much as before. The court cards are still gonna be something I have to get used to, as Sometimes when the court cards are very, very renamed, it can trip me up. It's one of those things that it doesn't matter how many years I've learned tarot. The renamings of the court cards are too different from like specifically Queen and Kings, are too different from like Page, Knight, Queen and Kings. I get a little bit tripped up. It makes me pause in my readings. So what I might do is I might just write here, like, you know, the king, queen kind of symbolism, in case I can't get used to the renaming, which actually let's have a look. For the court cards, we have curiosity for the page. And I think most of the page are looking young. So I think the pages I'll be fine recognizing. And for the knight, we have velocity, which again, I feel like I need to check. But when I flip through it, I feel like most of the knights are on horses or a cow, but you know, still movement. So again, I think I'll be very much fine recognizing the knight. It is when it comes to queen and kings that I know I'm gonna get tripped up. We have generosity and sovereignty. So what I might do is I might just put Q for queen and K for king. That might be just like the easiest way for me, because other than that, I absolutely love this collage art style. It's gorgeous. I love all the queer representation in it. I love the colors. Even more beautiful in person than I expected. Like I said, I had seen this when I was indie at the time. I'd seen a couple of flip through, but the renaming was a little bit like putting me off, and I was like, I don't think it's for me. And then when this lovely viewer got in touch and were like, no, you need to check it out, like this is so great, let me send it to you because I think you really enjoy it. I was like, okay, let me give this a go, you know. I obviously love a gift like everyone else, so especially when it's like a deck that someone loves, that always makes it special for me. So I'm super excited to use this. As you can see, it's still in order because I've literally received it like a day ago, so I've not been able to properly look at it. I've just flipped through it, look at the guidebook, and I'm very impressed so far just flipping through it by how gorgeous it looks. Like I didn't expect this to be so beautiful, and for a mass market deck, absolutely stunning. If you're looking for a collage deck mass market, this is really gorgeous. So I'm super excited to read with this. And there is one card that every time I see it, I get the feel, this one. I don't know, it's like every time I see this card, I'm like, I feel like I get gut punched. So I need to sit with this one. There's something about this one is trying to tell me something. But we need to look at my favorite card just before I move on. I have a lot of decks to go through, you guys, so I can't be here too long. But we have to find the Four of Pentacles because that is my favorite card of the deck. I love her so much. Look at her. She is fabulous, okay? She's a vibe. She is everything. She's sunning herself in her garden. I live. She is so fabulous. So I'm super excited to get to know this deck. I'd love to know if you guys have this one. It's not one I see a lot, actually, even though it's mass market and that it's, you know, got an interesting representation, good guidebook. It's not one I'm seeing a lot of people talk about. So I'd love to know if you guys have this one, if you enjoy it, the kinds of readings you guys do with this. Who published this, actually? I should have said it is, I think it's Red Wheel Wiser. Yeah, Red Wheel Wiser. Just wanted to say a huge thank you to my lovely viewers for sending this to me because I'm super pumped and it's such a joy to be able to bond over our love of the cards. So very, very excited about that one. Let's continue with gifts. One of my lovely friends got me a surprise, a deck I didn't even know I was gonna be getting. It was a complete surprise. She saw it in the bookshop and decided to pick it up for me, and which was absolutely sweet. And that is the Millennial Tarot by Scott Bergman. So again, this is one that at the time when it was indie, I was a little bit curious about, but I'm not gonna lie, I found the aesthetic of it, the art style, a little bit ugly. At the time. I think it was one of the first AI deck that came out, right? And at the time when it was indie, it was quite expensive and everyone was like, this was a very, very popular deck, 2 years ago now? And then I think it was end of last year that it was picked up mass market. I don't know, because my friend found it in a bookshop in England and she sent it over to me. So it's obviously now available mass market and it's printed by Running Press. Great guidebook. I'm very impressed. I had a look and it's really good. We have the Sitch, which is like a little bit of a fun millennial talk explaining to you what the card is. And then you have real talk and reverse, which is more like the traditional meaning of tarot. So you have like the millennial fun explanation of tarot relating to modern life. And then you have the more traditional meaning. And then you also they have hashtags to help you understand it. So the whole idea of the millennial tarot, as you can imagine if you're not aware of this one, is that it is inspiring itself from millennial culture and sayings and things like that. Here are the backs. We have avocados, of course. And like I said, this was one of the first AI deck, I believe, that came out. And when it was indie, everyone was super into it. I was always like super curious because of the keyword. I thought the keywords were super fun, but I never really loved the art style. So I didn't want to be spending like 60 or 70 euros for something where I didn't quite love what it looks like, but I really enjoyed the key phrases. Now that it's mass market though, and that my friend gifted it to me, I'm very excited to be using this, especially because I've heard from people that this is a great one for career reading, that it speaks so well, especially as there's a lot of reference to like things around online culture, you know, working online, working from home, things like that, nomad life, van life. So for our day and age where a lot of people work from home, where a lot of people work online, you know, we have Bitcoin investments, things that are very related to our day-to-day right now. My fellow friend who read tarot have told me that this is so great for career reading specifically because it really speaks to things that are super relatable to people's jobs day to day. In this like 2020s climate that we go through, dumpster fire, I mean, come on, if this isn't the start of 2025 so far, I don't know what is. This is literally live since the beginning of January, or maybe even since 2020, you know, too real. But I'm super excited to own this deck because I've always been super curious as to how I would incorporate this, specifically the key phrases, into my readings. I'm very, very excited to use it in my pick a card reading specifically because, again, the art style, not my favorite, but I love the keywords or the key phrases. As you can see, we have renamings, again, huge renamings in this one, for the suits. So we have vibes. I think vibes are wands, feels are cups. We have thoughts for swords, and we have swag for pentacles. It's fun, right? It's fun. I think this would be a really fun one to bring to a party, to people who are not super familiar with tarot. Maybe they are a little bit afraid of tarot. They have weird preconceived notion that, you know, it's the devil work and stuff like that. This feels very approachable. It feels like a fun read. I don't know exactly how it reads because I literally haven't used it yet. I've just opened it, looked through it, as this is very new to my collection. But I'd love to know if you guys have this one, how you read with it. Can it go deep is my question, because right now it feels very fun, light-hearted, superficial almost. Although, like I said, I've heard great things for career reading. I wonder if it could go deep for like more spiritual readings, you know, things a little bit more serious, or if it has to stay more like material, pentacle vibes, things that are more related to day-to-day, but that are not so spiritual kind of vibe. So I'd love to have your guys' opinion if you have this one. Pentacle suit is probably my favorite in terms of the cleverness of the key phrases. They're really, really pertinent and smart, I think. Like 7 of swag, hustle culture, yes. 8 of swag, imposter syndrome, again, genius. So even if the art style is not my fave, I think that the key phrases are really smart and can be a great way to learn tarot as well, to help people who struggle apply tarot to day-to-day life, to material life, to career life, things like that. 9 of swags, first-time homeowner, you know, so good. 10 of swags, generational wealth, yes. Let's have a look for page of swags or page of pentacles. We have personal trainer. I think that's great. Although that could have been wands as well. I see wands as exercise sometimes, but you know, I'm not mad that it's in the pentacle realm. Knight of swags, celebrity stylist, okay, like that. Swag, who run the world, yeah, that's great. Actually, I think that's my favorite image of the deck. That's cool. King of swag, sugar daddy. I think King of pentacles, sugar daddy is excellent. I think that's a really smart choice. So honestly, I'm very curious about this one because it's not one I would have necessarily picked up for myself, but to have it as a surprise and as a gift is perfect because I'm very excited to like make my own opinion, try it in readings, and figure out if this can go deep. Very curious. So we're gonna have a look. Of course, I'll be using this in pick a card readings for you guys. I need to go quicker because we have so many decks to talk about. So let's continue. A deck I actually knew I was gonna get because it was on my wish list and that was very kindly gifted to me by my family. That is the Tarot of Oneness. So this is an indie deck by Robin Voicy. I'm not sure how you say that. I've been eyeing this deck since it came out, but to get it delivered to Reunion was really hard as I believe the creator is based in Australia, and I don't know why. Australia is not that far away from Reunion, but it's always super hard to get stuff delivered from Australia to Reunion. So anyway, this is one I couldn't get my hands on myself. So when my family asked me what I wanted and they're based in France, they picked this one up for me, as this one I've always been like super curious about. Here is the guidebook. For each of the cards you have upward and reverse keywords, and then you have a full page, and it also refers specifically what is depicted on the page. So here, as you can see, it refers Holi, which is the festival of love in the Hindu celebration, for example. So it does explain to you the inspiration and what is represented, if there is specific imagery, specific symbol, like the artistic inspiration behind the card. And I love that. I love when artists explain or give us a little bit of a background as to why they chose to depict this a card this way, especially as, if you guys are not familiar, Tarot of Oneness has a very unique point of view, as it's almost always putting you in the like main POV, as if you're looking at the cards from the perspective of the person in the scene. So here are the backs, and we have some very unique, like, I don't even know what this color is. Is it salmon? Is it peach? I'm not sure. Very, very unique. I don't have any deck that looks like this, but it's matte, so that's nice. You know, it won't give your hands full of glitter, as some of my decks make me look like I've bitch slapped Tinkerbell. I appreciate matte edges now a lot. So like I was saying, the uniqueness of the Tarot of Oneness is that you are in the main point of view as if you're in the card. So here you're like literally almost in the fool's shoes. You're looking at the cliff about to jump. Here again, it's your hands holding the magician power. So I love that. And I was hesitating for ages between the Spacious Tarot, which by the way apparently is going out of print, and the Oneness Tarot, as they both give me that similar idea of like different perspective, space, less peoply, more nature, or this idea of like being in the card. And after watching a ton of walkthroughs of both of the decks, I decided that I definitely preferred the Tarot of Oneness. So again, when my family asked me what I wanted for my birthday, this was very high on my wish list, and I'm so happy that they picked it up for me. I love this Strength card with the person cuddling the bear. I know that will never happen, but come on, we can't deny that we've all dreamt of doing that, right? Bears are so cuddly looking. It's a crime that they are dangerous. Honestly, it feels like a travesty that the universe would make bears so cuddly looking and give them such big fangs. Because honestly, they look so cuddly. You just want to, you know, squish them little cheeks. Anyway, so I love that Strength card. Every single card is really cool, the way that it puts you in the card, the uniqueness of the point of view. I love this interpretation of the Hangman with the idea of being in a hair balloon. For Death and Rebirth, we have the snake. Not my favorite. I don't know. It's like, it's not bad, but it's not, you know, I'm not a huge snake fan, so I could do without snakes or spiders on my decks, but it's okay. I love the Temperance card though, with the idea of being 2 feet in the river. That's gorgeous. The Star, also one of my favorite cards, with this beautiful waterfall. This is literally the opposite of the Millennial Tarot. You know, the Millennial Tarot was very modern, very like rooted in modern day, modern culture, technology. This is the opposite. This is like nature. This is like space. This is way less peoply, and I think these could be great for spiritual readings. Actually, I don't know, there's something that feels a little bit channeled about this deck. And whilst obviously we have some depiction of day-to-day things like, you know, windows and cups of tea and things like that, it still feels very like timeless, and I don't know, universal almost in the sense of being able to picture yourself in the card. And I'm very excited to read with this one because I think it's going to give unique perspective. I've seen other people read with this. I've watched fellow tarot readers read with this. And every time, all the readings were always great. Another one with renamings. No, you guys, normally I don't do renamings, but apparently I'm full of contradiction and full of shit. We're used to it because literally most of the decks I'm sharing today have renamings and I'm okay with it. We have for the pages, we have inspiration. For knights, we have action. And again, we have a horsey here, so that's okay. We have spirit for queen, and the reason why I think I'll be okay with these renamings is that always I struggle between king and queen when they're not called king and queen, but all the kings in this deck have a crown somewhere, like here you can see you have the crown, so and they're called embodiment, which to be honest I could call queen's embodiment as well, but there's a crown. So now I've noticed, okay, for the kings we have the crown, so I know the other one is the queen, so I think I'll be okay. Yeah, this is a super popular one, so I won't spend too long on this one as I know a lot of you already have it or have seen it. Love this Three of Wands so much. This is one of the cards that made me want the deck. I just really love the idea of this being on a boat. For the Three of Wands, the idea of exploring, of going to see what's beyond the sunset is so great. And this is another one that I think is such a good idea. The red carpet paparazzi for the Six of Wands is genius. Honestly, a lot of the choices here are so good, really clever. I'm pretty sure recently there was a Kickstarter for the Oracle deck, but that was another one that wasn't delivering to Reunion. And at the time, I didn't know if I was gonna get the tarot for my birthday or not, as it was on my wish list, but like I didn't know which deck my family was gonna pick for me. So I didn't back it, but I think it was a very successful Kickstarter, so I feel like a lot of you would have backed that Oracle, and it looks gorgeous as well. And in the tarot deck you do get some extra cards. You have some extra Oracle cards, which I'll share with you in a bit. Let's just quickly look at the swords, because I think the swords are so well done. Two of Swords with two doors, super clever. Three of Swords with a mirror cracked, really great. Four of Swords with meditation, I think is really stunning. The Nine of Swords specifically, ooh, the Nine of Swords is so good, you guys. We need to have a look at that. This, ooh, is so good. This Knight of Swords with the idea of nightmares, of sleep paralysis demon. Yeah, it's so good. Really clever. And Ten of Swords with a shipwreck, but you are in the water, you know, like almost like after the Titanic, you've pushed Jack back in the water, you're hanging onto your door. We know there was space for both of them, but it's okay. And there's help on the way, on the horizons. Super clever for the Ten of Swords, I think. And so again, as you can see, for the King of Swords, we have a crown, so that's easier to remember. And then we had some extra cards. So we have Higher Self, Life Force Energy, Oneness, Present Moment, and Synchronicities. Very beautiful. I will not be using the extra cards because I just don't really do extra cards in my decks. I like my decks to have 78 cards, but I appreciate them being here. They're really beautiful. And look at this, okay? This little bunny, which is actually the Four of Pentacles, I believe, is just... it's too much, you guys. It's too much. Every time I open the box, I forget that it's there, and then when I see it, I'm like, oh my god, like a little girl. Because you just want to, you know, scratch his little cute belly. Another one that you're like, oh my god, I wish I could give you scratches. Let's continue with gifts I got from people. I told you I was very spoiled. Another one that I literally didn't know I was going to be getting for my birthday, that I didn't even really ever looked at properly, that my friend surprised me with. She told me she went to the bookshop and saw it and thought of me because she knows I love tarot and she knows I'm a big kid at heart. And I was like, you know what, that tracks because it's so true. And that is Tarot for All Ages. This is by Elizabeth Hadel, and this is one I've never even really looked at. I don't think I had ever watched a walkthrough of it. It's one that I completely had bypassed my radar. So when my friend surprised me with this, I was very pumped. You guys know I love whimsical stuff. I love cute stuff. I have very chaotic, eclectic taste, but it's true that I'm a huge kid at heart, right? All my friends know that. The guidebook is really clear, concise, easy to understand. I think this is a great one for beginners, honestly, because you don't have a ton, but it's enough. So definitely what I read so far made sense. It was clear, straight to the point, no bullshit, no nonsense. It doesn't tell you about astrology, Kabbalah, whatever. This is literally tarot for beginners, give you the simple essence of the card, and that's enough. Especially that's what you need when you're starting. You don't want to be overwhelmed by lots of details. We have some spreads. Honestly, for a beginner deck, for example, great. I think it would be a great one to get started. The cardstock. Okay, the cardstock. We have already a huge bow, even though I've not used this deck a lot. I've used it a couple of times, but it's bowing way too much already. And it's already like not sitting right. I don't know if you can see that, but I can move it. I can move it like this. Right now it's not as bad because I've got fabric, but if it's on a flat surface, it's pretty bad. Kind of like as if I was reusing this deck for years. So not the best cardstock, but the art style on the other hand is so enchanting. So I can kind of forgive it because I really appreciate the art style. But I just want to put it out there that the cardstock for me anyway bowed so bad, and that's not something that I struggle with normally in my environment and things like that. So just putting it out there. It might be my copy or it might be the cardstock, I'm not sure. However, the art style is delightful, like so beautiful. I can't believe I've never seen this deck before. Another one with renaming. Normally, you know, I avoid like the plague, but apparently not in this haul. Pretty much all of the decks I'm sharing with you today have renamings. But this is another one where I might write the king and queen and, you know, page and knight just on the bottom to help me out. I think that the majors specifically are so cute. This is so sweet, you guys. I can't believe I've never seen it before. I love the colors. I love how simple it is. It's very like pared down, straight to the point, but it's not pips, right? So this would be a wonderful deck for beginners. I think it would be a wonderful deck to read for literally all ages. If you're doing a reading somewhere that has families where there's gonna be kids, this is really non-threatening. Definitely one that I think beginners would enjoy learning with, as the guidebook really takes your hand, and the art style, like I said, is more pared down, doesn't overwhelm you with detail. We have a couple of renamings for the majors as well, but nothing too major. And overall, the art style is just very enchanting. I really like this. It's giving like kids book a little bit, kind of, it's not pips, but it's not fully illustrated. It's in the middle, right? It's like, I don't know how I would call that. It's like halfway, half and half. And I think makes it quite interesting and a great learning tool, especially if you don't vibe with traditional RWS, you want something a little bit different. Like I said, I had never seen this before. I didn't even know my friend was going to give this to me. She saw it. She saw there was like a tarot for all ages, that it had kind of like kids imagery, and she thought of me because she knows I'm a big kid. And you know what? I'm really happy she took a chance with this one, because I've been reading with this, and apart from the terrible cardstock, which is already bowing, like I said, and that's a bit of a shame. In terms of how it reads, this is super concise, straight to the point. It's kind of a sniper, honestly. This is one I could see using for everything and everyone. It's non-threatening and it's very clear and concise, right? This is no bullshit, and that has got to be my favorite card of the deck. The Hermit is so cute. I love this one so much. I find it really interesting. I've been using it recently in readings, and it's, like I said, very concise, straight to the point, clear, kind of a sharpshooter, no bullshit, right? It feels like if I had to give this a kind of a court card or a major arcana, this would be like a Queen of Swords, straight to the point, no bullshit, here's what you need to know, and let's move on. And you know what? I appreciate that. So I'm excited to read with this one for you guys, and I'd love to know again if you have this one, if you enjoyed it, all of that good stuff. Let's chat in the comments. And the last birthday present that I was very generously gifted from one of my lovely friends is this gorgeous indie deck that's been on my wishlist for ages. Literally a few months ago, my friend told me she had found this super affordable on Vinted, which is like a second-hand shop that is in Europe online, and she was like, listen, this looks really cool, do you have it? If not, I'll pick it up for you for your birthday. You already know what it will be, but I feel like you would like it. And I was like, oh my god, this is literally on my wish list. It's been on my wish list for ages. Yeah, if you can get it like second-hand for a good price, definitely I would love it. And so she picked it up for me. So I knew this one was coming. I received it recently, so I'm I'm very excited. This is the 7th edition. Like I said, she got it for a great price, second hand. I don't know if the Serpent Fire Tarot is still in print. I think it is, but I think it might be a new edition now. Same creator as the She-Wolf Tarot, and there's like a deck for babies, and there's a deck about the nervous system. I'll make sure to leave links in the description box anyway, but this is one of her more famous decks, I will say, in the 7th edition, the one I have. Here are the backs. Honestly, I think the person who sold it never read with it, because when I got the deck, it feels like brand new. Literally, it's not chipped, like brand new. Even the guidebook felt like it hadn't even been open. I think whoever sold this got the deck, flicked through it, went like, no, not for me, and decided to put it on sale. And I'm so grateful to my friend for being such a good internet sleuth and finding this one for me. And I'm so grateful she decided to pick it up for my birthday, because this is one I kind of didn't think I would ever get my hands on. It was really hard to deliver to Reunion Island every time I found one, and it was super expensive. So this was a great find. Haven't done any reading with this one apart from just an interview spread, which was great. Very fiery. This feels like a very fiery deck. So great for Aries season. This feels like a Leo or an Aries for sure. Very feminine deck. I don't think there's any male representation in this one. The colors are great. This is definitely like one of those OG indie decks, right? It's been out for years. Kind of same time, I think, as the Moonchild, when we were starting to see super cool, unique indie decks that were very different, that were very bold. This was exciting at the time. And I always had my eye on this one, and I'm so happy to finally be able to give it a chance. It feels a little bit trippy, psychedelic, a little bit like, you know, desert vibe. There's a sense of 70s about this one, grooviness about this one. It's very different to traditional imagery. If you want something that follows the RWS or Thoth or anything like that, this is not it. This is definitely unique. It follows the own artist interpretation, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that for something creative and bold and fiery. And yeah, I'm excited to finally be able to give this a chance, as it's one I was always curious about. Again, I'd love to know if you guys have it, if you enjoy it, the kind of readings you do with it. This is one of my favorite cards, 10 of Wands. It looks like the card is teared and used. Super smart, like back in the day where you had to develop your pictures when there wasn't digital cameras, but you had to get a film for your pictures and get them developed, and if they weren't developed properly, sometimes you had those weird light effects on the pictures. So great for the 10 of Wands, I think. It's really smart. So this feels like a Queen of Wands kind of deck. It feels bold, fierce, badass, creative. It's one I think I want to use for creative readings. Love this Justice card, so beautiful. Yeah, it's one I want to use for creative reading. One I feel like I need to get used to before I can read for others with. Unlike all the other decks I've shared with you today so far, all of the other decks I feel like I could take out of the box and read for anyone with and be completely fine with it. This one, it's like asking me to sit with it, maybe do some journaling, do some readings for myself first. I feel like I need to bond with this one first, establish a connection, because it's quite different. It feels like it has a unique voice, and then, you know, once we bond and we get very much accustomed to each other, and I could use it for other people. But so far it's calling more to me as a deck I need to explore myself. Love this Page of Wands so much. That's one of my significators. I think this one is so good. So yeah, I want to journal with this one. It's like I want to do some creative work with this, some journaling, exploring the guidebook. It has something to teach me, you know. There's the best way I can describe it. It's one I need to sit with first before I feel like I can reading with it for others. Very excited. I actually want to use this for the eclipse tonight. At the time of me filming, we have the eclipse in Aries tonight, and this is one that's gonna be, I think, perfect for that, as it's giving me that fiery and eclipse energy. Okay, let's move on to gifts that I gifted myself, because you know what? Life is hard enough, so sometimes I like to treat myself, especially when it's my birthday. So usually around my birthday and around Christmas, I put like one order to an indie shop I enjoy. I change the indie shops depending on the decks I want. This year, for my birthday, I put an order to Salon des Arcanes, Nicolas' shop. It's a shop based in France specializing in indie tarot and oracle decks. And because of the shipping prices and tax prices, it always makes more sense for me to order a few decks at once rather than ordering like a deck every 2 months. At least for shipping prices, it definitely makes much more sense considering where I live in Réunion. So I ordered 3 decks from Nicolas' shop. So let's talk about it. Let's start with the Granny's Postcard Tarot. This is by the creators Pentagram Publishing. They are based in Eastern Europe, I think maybe Ukraine if I'm not mistaken. This is a deck that reuses old postcards. First, let's talk about the cardstock, which is the weirdest, most unique cardstock I've ever touched in my life. It feels like sandpaper almost. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear that? Super weird. It's like, it's not gonna scratch, right? It doesn't scratch, but it feels textured and almost like sandpaper. It's really weird, but it's bendy and easy to shuffle, so I like it. It's just very unique because it feels like, I don't know, yeah, very much textured. I've never had any cardstock like this. You guys know I'm not a cardstock snob. This is just so surprising that I had to point it out. And as I was telling you, this is a deck that uses pre-existing postcard. On paper, this is something that is really not me, as normally I don't like when the decks have very different art style. I'm not a huge collective art style kind of gal. If a deck is made by different artists, normally I run in the opposite direction. But this one, there was a lot of postcard that I found very cute, and it was always like on the back of my mind. And then I was watching a reading from Yena Soul Shadow Tarot, and she used this deck, and I was like, wow, this is so good, right? The reading she did with it was amazing. And then I was on Instagram and I saw someone else reading with this deck, and the choices of the card and the reading was so smart. I was like, okay, you know what, maybe I should check this out. And so because I was going on Nicolas' shop to order another deck, which I'll share with you at the end, I'll keep my favorite for the end, you know, for suspense. So because I was ordering on Salon des Arcanes shop for the deck I'll share with you at the end, and I saw that Nicolas was stocking this one, I was like, you know what, let me pick this up as well, because I'm curious and I want to see if it reads good for me as well. So this is one I've actually been using pretty much all months of March, and I'm so impressed, you guys. I did not think it would speak to me the way it does. I actually used it for my April 2025 months ahead reading on my other channel, The Waves of Your Soul reading. If you've not watched it, I will make sure to leave it in the cards. This was one of the choices for one of my piles, and it read so well. I've used it for other people, for like friends and stuff, and it really was a sharpshooter. So I don't know, I'm surprised. Like, some of the cards are really weird and I hate them. Like, I really don't like them. And some of them are fabulous, like this Two of Cups, gorgeous. And yet, when you read with it, it's really good. I don't know why this deck works so much. It's not something that normally would work for me. Everything looks so different. Like, we have some drawings, some pictures, we have some things that look more childlike and some things that look more adult. There's some satire in there, some weird sense of humor in there, and yet it works. So I don't know, you guys. I don't know what to tell you, apart from the fact that on paper this should be everything I hate, and yet it reads like a dream. Every time I read with it, I'm shocked at the messages I get, how accurate it is, how clear it is. Even the backings, I'm not a fan of. Like, it's okay, but you know, it's a bit boring if I'm not gonna be honest. But it just works. So this is one where it's like, sometimes you have to give decks a chance that on paper are really not your vibe, but then when you put them in practice, they might blow you away. Like, this could never be a favorite decks of mine aesthetically, because I don't love all the cards. Some of the cards, like I said, I really don't like. But for the experience of reading with it and the readings I get with it, this is very impressive. Like, I did not expect this to be such a good reader. Like, it told me some stuff for my friends. I was shocked, you know, the kind of, specifically like for fortune telling, divination, we were not ready, okay, for the tea that was being spilled, and it turned out all true, and we were shooketh, okay? This deck, this weird little deck shook us to our core. So yeah, A weird one. This is the UFO of my collection. If I hadn't done my weird decks video, this would be definitely in one of the weirdest decks I own, and yet such a good reader. I'm so shocked. Some of them are so cute, right? Like these two of ones, adorable, but then some of them are like, what, just, I don't know, not so cute and a bit boring. So yeah, weird deck, and yet it works. It reads so good. So I'm definitely gonna be continuing to use this because I've had some great readings. It spilled some serious tea. This one is a surprise. I was not expecting this one to hit so hard. The second deck I ordered from Salon des Arcanes for my birthday is this one, the Shadow Seeker Oracle. These decks are going out of print. It's the same person, Joy Seeker Tarot, Shadow Seeker Tarot, and Joy Seeker Oracle, and Shadow Seeker Oracle. They're going out of print. Last time I checked, the Etsy shop was doing huge sales, but the Etsy shop didn't deliver in Reunion, and then I saw that Nicolas still had a couple of copies, and this is the one I really wanted, the Shadow Seeker Oracle, because it's, in my opinion, the most beautiful one out of all of them. So because I knew eventually it's going out of print, I decided to pick it up in this particular order. So this is an animal deck. For the guidebook, you have the name of the animal, some keywords, a little bit about what the animal is, and then you have always some questions so you can journal about it, which I think is always a great touch. Really nice, this addition of the invitation. On each of the cards, you always have an animal and a plant, and it will tell you in the guidebook what those are. This artist is so talented, and I always wanted one of their decks. So when I realized that they were selling everything on their Etsy shop for super cheap because they were closing shop, I was like, I need to get my hands on one of the decks, I did not want to miss out, as I think this artwork is stunning, and this is the one I really wanted, so I'm very happy that I could get my hands on it before it was too late, as I love this idea of the animal on black background. And the reason why I really wanted the Shadow Seeker compared to the Joy Seeker is because the animal depicted are a little bit more unique, right? We have the badger, we have the vulture, those are not stereotypical animals from other oracle decks, because I have a lot of animal oracle decks, let's be real. I'm a huge nature lover. I have a lot of animal decks, but I don't have a lot of animal decks with capybara, for example. This is the only one. So this one definitely chooses animals that are unique, that are unlike any other oracle decks I have, and that's the main reason why I wanted this one, because of how unique the animals chosen were. It's not your stereotypical tiger and things like that. We have, flying fish. I know there's a Shadow Seeker Tarot, I think, and a Joy Seeker Tarot, but for the Tarot, I found the minors a little bit boring, if I'm gonna be honest, whereas I find the Oracle a lot more appealing, so that's why I picked up the Oracle deck. And the Shadow Seeker specifically, like I said, has very unique choices of animal and of plants that really spoke to me. Look at this macaque, it's so cute, so I'm super pumped to be using this one. I've not read with it yet, I was waiting for my birthday to open it, and so I'm excited now to start using it. We'll obviously be using it on my other channel, because how can I not share this with you guys? Look at this gorgeous Luna moth. I cannot. It's so beautiful. We have the manta ray. I love that. We have the panda. So cute. That's a bit more common. We have the pangolin, another one that we don't see enough of in oracle decks, in my opinion. The panther, bit more common. The parrot, peacock. We have pelican, the ram, which, I'm an Aries, so I was happy to see a ram. I feel seen. Rattlesnake, ooh, this one. I could do with that, but, it's beautiful, but I don't like snakes. Salmon, gorgeous. The snail is so cute. Look at this snail, so cute. I love it. We have the stag, tardigrade. That's another one we never see, right? And yet, genius, so good. We have the tuatara, the unicorn, beautiful. The whale shark. To be honest, was one of the cards I was like, yep, add to cart. I love whale sharks. We have wild beast and wolverine. So really cool, unique take on animals. Not your stereotypical animals in this one. Gorgeous art style. If you guys like this art style again, I would recommend you to get your hands on them sooner rather than later, as I'm pretty sure they are going out of print. The last deck I got from Salon des Arcanes, part of my treat from me to me. This is the main reason I did the order. This is the deck I wanted the most, and I'm so pumped. I've literally had this deck for 3 3 weeks, but I was waiting for my birthday to open it. So in the meantime, I've been using, you know, the granny postcard. This one I opened and I've been using in the month of March. But this last one, I was literally wrapping it up, waiting for the end of March to open it on my birthday. And now I'm like, okay, I'm so ready. I have itchy fingers. I need to read with this. I'm just feeling so impatient. And that is the Cosmic Seeker Tarot. This is an indie deck. I think originally it was a Kickstarter, which at the time I missed. I don't know. It was an old Kickstarter. Apparently, I definitely missed it at the time. But then I was going again on Nicolas' shop. I saw that he stocked it. And I was like, I need this deck. It's everything I love. It's fantasy inspired. It's cool. It's got that whimsical, magical vibe. So let's get into it. This is by Nadine Sophie Whaleblinger. I believe Nadine is based in Australia because originally I, again, tried to get this deck directly from her. She's super nice, but she couldn't find a way to ship it to me. And then I told her it was all good because there was some stocks left in Salon des Arcanes. So that's how I got my hands on it. But you can get also this from Etsy directly from the creatrix, who's really sweet and was very helpful. Here is the guidebook for each of the card. We have about a page. There's no pictures, but you know, straight to the point. This is an RWS inspired deck. Also, again, renamings. Normally, you guys, I flee renamings like they are the plague, but I don't know why. For these decks I've shared with you today, they work. Can we talk about these backs? So beautiful. Love these bags so much. Gorgeous, simple, but very, very classy. These edges, matte red. Again, so beautiful. I love a matte edge. Again, no glitter left on my hands. And this is the deck I really wanted. This is the present I really wanted to give to myself. As this is everything I love. You're gonna see it's very fantasy inspired. This feels like my favorite books, my favorite movies. Fantasy heart is so full when I look at this because it's full of mage and wizards and magical creatures and elves. Very much fantasy inspired. Lots of different beautiful people and magical creatures. And so when I started to see some images of this deck going around the internet and I realized there was a Kickstarter I had missed, I was livid, you guys. I saw this particular Hierophant and I was like, how did I miss this? Because it's so me. I love fantasy. You guys know that. I'm a huge fantasy nerd. I need to do a video dedicated to my fantasy decks because I have a lot. We have a few lovers card, which again, look at that. How beautiful. I want to read a romantasy inspired by each of these couples because they are so great. I love every single one. I need to do a video about my fantasy deck collection because they are some of my favorite tarot decks. And this one is definitely, I can tell, gonna be one that jumps very high on my list of favorite. It was so hard having this deck for a few weeks and not opening up before my birthday. Like I was gagging, you know, my very non-dramatic airy self was like, this is too hard, life is too short, why am I doing this? But the pleasure of now being able to going through it with you guys and enjoying it together, ooh, I'm so happy. This is, you know, it's a real treat for me because this is just everything I adore in a deck. I love the fact that whilst it's renamed, we still have the name of the traditional card below. So even if, you know, you're not super comfortable with renamings, you'll have no problem. The Alchemist is also the Temperance. Look at this Siren for the Devil. Ooh, love that. We have the Destroyer for the Tower with this huge Kraken. It's so badass. Like, I could see every single card as being a book I would read, you know, main characters of a book I would read. We have a source, and then the rest of the card up until 10, it's the same. It's like 2, 3, 4, etc. Except it's element based, so we have 2 of Earth for 2 of Pentacles. Look at this 3 of Earth. Oh my god, you guys. This is reminding me of the Ascendant book I read recently, which was fantastic. This 4 of Pentacles is gorgeous. Yeah, this is absolutely stunning. It's taking you to another world full of magical creatures and so cool. I'm super happy. Could have done without Could have done with that. Could have done with that. Yeah. One card I was like, why? Why do you do this to me? You're giving me gorgeous centaurs and unicorns, and then you're giving me this huge ass spider. Why? But, you know, I'll forgive it, because when the rest of the deck looks like this, I can't be mad, okay? This is too beautiful. So for the knights, we have guardians. I think they're all creatures, like magical creatures. And then, but king and queens are king and queens. Thank you, you know, for dumbasses like me who are always struggling with the renaming of the court cards. I appreciate that. And then let's move on to the cups. We have elixir of life, and then it goes to water. So really cool deck. I'm so excited to read with this. This is one I've seen a few people obviously share, the people who backed the Kickstarter, but again, if you missed it like me, you can find it on Etsy. Look at this. Obviously, when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I need this deck in my life. Like, there's a humpback whale. Please, please, it's fantasy and there's a whale. I cannot be held responsible when that happens. You can get this directly from the artist on Etsy, and she was really sweet. She helped me out get my hands on this. Look at this 10 of fire. And you know what I want to pair this with is my Night Forest Tarot. I was wrong, the Lost Forest Tarot, because this is another one of my favorite fantasy decks ever. This was actually part of my favorite decks of last year in 2024, and it's a fantasy deck again, taking you to that magical forest. I adore this deck so much. It's like everything I love again, but I thought that these two together could be so good. What do we think, right? I know this is not the pairing time. I'm not even doing it properly, but look at that. I think that could be so cool, right? So I know tarot and tarot, a little bit controversial, but I think those two together be really fun. So I'm excited to try that as well. And like I was telling you guys, this is going to be my main deck for April, a mini collection of all my fantasy decks, because I've definitely accumulated quite a few over the years, and I want to share with you my favorites, different kind of readings I do with them, what I think each deck's strength is, if it's like great for spiritual reading, career reading, love readings, all of that. And look at the Queen of Air and King of Air. I think they're my favorite court cards of the deck, to be honest. They are really beautiful. She especially is giving me Amaterasu vibe. So gorgeous. I love her so much. So that's the Cosmic Seeker. Again, let me know, you guys, if you have it, if you back the Kickstarter, if you like it, if you don't like it. Oh my god, you guys, I'm out of breath. I was gonna finish the video and then the postman came and arrived, and I just received deck today, literally at the time of me filming. So we're gonna take a look. I was gonna finish my video on this one, as this one the last I opened, but no, there's another one that arrived. I really didn't think it was gonna arrive now, because I ordered it like a week ago. It was super fast. I thought I was gonna get it in April, and it really took a week. So let's talk about it. This is a surprise. The video is a bit longer than expected, but come on, I can't not share it with you. Look what arrived today, the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot by Essony. I literally expected this to take weeks, because it comes from Canada to Reunion, and it took a week. I'm shook. I'm literally shook. You guys know Essony. She's a guidebook queen. I love her Modern Love Tarot. That's like literally one of the best tarot decks for relationship readings. I love her Modern Goddess Oracle. They're just like, all of her decks are fantastic, and she always has amazing guidebooks. This one is really cool because instead of a ton of text, you have like the breakdown of all the symbolism on the card, which I think is really smart. And then you just have some keywords, key phrases, so it's straight to the point, but it's really unique, different, and really cool in terms of graphics and everything. So I really appreciate that. Something different that we don't see a lot of. And it also came with some stickers. Look, I didn't know that was gonna come. We have some beautiful stickers that you can use in your journal, so we love that. In terms of the deck, I think she had done a Kickstarter for this last year, and at the time I had already backed a lot, so I was like, it's okay, I'll pick it up later. So here are the backs, really beautiful. We have this hollow, and the side again, hollow edging gold, very beautiful. And this is definitely an RWA, but it is again fantasy inspired. You guys, am I a little bit predictable? Maybe I'm becoming predictable at this point, but you know what, I couldn't resist. It's got people of different skin tones. It's set up in a beautiful magical world. We have two lovers, one where we don't see bits and one where we see bits. I appreciate we have choice, and it's just super beautiful. Like, it's RWS but gorgeous art style. One that I know I can take out of the box and start reading for people, no problem, you know. I told you, like, maybe the Serpent Fire, for example, I would need to spend a little bit more time getting to know, bonding with, so before I can read for other people. This one, I know I can take out of the box immediately, read with this for others, no problem. It's just gorgeous. It's one of those that's like, is it the most unique deck in my collection? No. But is it beautiful and set in a world that makes me feel like I want to step into it and explore? Yes. And I love a deck that makes me feel like I can escape, that brings me some whimsy, some magic, some poesy. Like, this is everything I enjoy. Look at this cute frog. I can't. That's too cute. That is too cute. This frog having a bath, I cannot, you guys. That is adorable. Yeah, this is super beautiful. And you know what? When I watched some walkthroughs, when I was like, okay, I think I need this in my life, like, this is very gorgeous, I didn't realize the colors were so vibrant, but they really are in person, much more vibrant than you think. I love this Five of Cups so much. I don't know why. I feel like this could be London, and it's making me think of a book I read recently, the whole Dark Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab, with like Harry Magic. If you know, you know. If you haven't read these trilogies, honestly, 5 out of 5. Every single book is amazing. If you like fantasy readings, you have different Londons. Each London is a different world with different types of magic. You have those magicians who can travel to different Londons and who are able to use their magic to travel between the worlds. And I don't know why this card makes me think of that, but that's where I go in my mind, because I really enjoy this particular series. It's interesting because this deck feels like it's one step in fantasy realm and one step in modern day-to-day, and I like that because, you know, it's giving me like Narnia. You can just step through a closet and suddenly you're meeting with Mr. Tumnus, but then you step through the wardrobe again and you're back in the normal day-to-day world. So I think that's quite cool, the fact that we have a bit of both, right? Like, this feels very modern and day-to-day, but there's definitely some cards that are giving more fantasy inspired. So I just think this is very beautiful. I just really enjoyed it when I was seeing people's walkthroughs when they were starting to get their Kickstarter. I was like, why didn't I back that? Because this is everything I love. It's a deck I feel like I could read with for so many people. One I know I could like take out of the box and read for everyone. I love that a lot of the time we see the people elongated as if we're like an interesting point of view of being on the ground. It gives you like the aspect of like you're stepping into a story almost, which I think is really interesting perspective. Did not expect this to come today. I was convinced this would take weeks to arrive. I was like, this is probably gonna arrive in April or May, but it's fine because I've got plenty of fun decks to get my hands on before that and to use. But I mean, this was so fast. 1 week from Canada to Reunion. My God, this is unheard of. Super pumped to use this gorgeous Queen of Pentacles. She is stunning. And look at this king, he's so fun. So yeah, I like this like mix of modern with like otherworldly fantasy whimsical. It's fun, right? There's like an interesting mix here. This Five of Wands cracks me up. It makes me think of Survivor, the TV show, when they're always arguing about how to do the fire and stuff. So I love this card. It's another one of my favorites. And love the fact that on the Seven of Wands we have 2 different shoes. That's a detail that a lot of cards who are RWS clones or RWS inspired forget, and yet for me it's a huge part of how I read the Seven of Wands if you're going the RWS road. So I appreciate the fact that we have that here. This Page of Wands, I told you guys it's one of my significator, and she's absolutely beautiful. So when I saw that I was like, yeah, I need this deck. Page Knight, the Queen is beautiful. I love that her black cat is a panther. That's badass. And we have the king with the dragon. Again, super cool interpretation of the King of Wands. So I'm excited for this one. This is a surprise. I really did not think it would come today. What a fun surprise, you guys. This universe showering me with gifts. We love it. Oh, that is truly now the end of this haul. We have done it. So many decks. I have to put them all away now because I'm surrounded by a tower. I hope you enjoyed this haul. I hope it was fun to check out all those fun new decks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Now it's your turn. Let me know the new decks you got, the decks you decluttered, the decks you're enjoying, if you have any of the decks I shared with you today, how do you enjoy them, the kind of readings you do with them, all of that good stuff. It's always a joy to chat in the comments. Thank you for your presence, for hanging out with me. And until my next video, I'm sending you so much good vibes and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!